Beneath layers of forgotten earth, buried in silence for thousands of years, a massive structure has just been uncovered. A structure so immense, so impossibly advanced for its supposed time, that it threatens to rewrite everything we thought we knew about human history. The discovery is not in Egypt, not in Mesopotamia, not in the ruins of Greece or Rome. It lies in a place where no one expected. A place archaeologists believed had nothing more than scattered remnants of primitive settlements. And yet, here it is, 6,000 years old. Towering stones, engineered with precision. Pathways carved as if by machinery. Walls aligned not just with the stars, but with mathematical accuracy that would rival the Great Pyramids. What civilization built this? How did they move stones that weigh more than any modern crane could lift? Why was it buried, hidden, sealed away as if it was never meant to be found? The answers are elusive, and the mystery only deepens. The first hints appeared when satellite imaging picked up unusual geometric patterns beneath the soil. Archaeologists at first dismissed them as natural rock formations. But then came the anomalies. Straight lines that ran for hundreds of meters without deviation. Perfect 90-degree corners where none should exist in nature. And beneath these lines, ground-penetrating radar revealed something staggering. Vast chambers, multi-level passageways, and foundations of a structure that seemed to stretch across nearly 2 square kilometers. At first, the team thought it was a mistake in the data. But when the first excavation began, when the earth was peeled back, their disbelief turned to awe. Towering stones, each weighing up to 100 tons, emerged from the ground. They were stacked, interlocked, balanced in ways that modern engineers still struggle to comprehend. The stones themselves were not rough, not crudely shaped. They were cut with surgical precision, smoothed to a degree that suggested advanced tools. But here's the question: 6,000 years ago, who had such tools? Metalworking had barely begun. The wheel had only just been invented. And yet, here was proof of a technology, a knowledge that should not have existed. It wasn't just the stones. The orientation of the entire structure defied explanation. Astronomers were called in, and what they discovered was chilling. The alignment of the structure matched not today's stars, but the skies as they would have appeared 6,000 years ago. Every corner, every chamber, was calculated to track celestial movements, the solstices, the equinoxes, even the rising of specific constellations long before recorded history. Whoever built this structure had not only mastered engineering but also astronomy. And not just the kind of astronomy needed to mark planting seasons. This was higher knowledge, cosmic knowledge, knowledge that suggested something more than mere survival. The discovery has sparked fierce debates. Some archaeologists insist this was an unknown civilization, a culture lost to time, whose achievements were far greater than we imagined. Others whisper of influences not of this earth, because as excavation continued, more impossibilities emerged. Strange carvings, etched deep into the stone, showing symbols that do not match any known language. Spirals, geometric patterns, creatures that resemble beings from mythology and yet feel alien. One chamber wall depicts a human figure holding what looks unmistakably like a tool or device, something that should not have existed in 400 BC. And then came the greatest shock. Beneath one of the central chambers, archaeologists uncovered what appeared to be a massive circular disc of stone, intricately carved with markings resembling a star map. But this map did not match our sky as we see it today. It matched the sky as it would have appeared more than 10,000 years ago, a time before recorded history, a time before the rise of the first known civilizations. How could a 6,000-year-old structure contain knowledge of a sky from even deeper antiquity? The mystery spread beyond archaeology. Engineers studied the site, baffled by the methods of construction. The stone showed signs of being quarried from locations more than 50 kilometers away, yet there was no evidence of roads or tools capable of transporting them. Some suggested massive wooden rollers, but the terrain is rugged, filled with rivers and cliffs that would make such transport impossible. Others suggested ropes and manpower, but calculations revealed it would have required tens of thousands of workers, coordinated with military precision over decades, all for a structure that was eventually buried. Why build it at all, only to hide it? As excavation expanded, archaeologists discovered that the structure wasn't just above ground. It extended deep into the earth. Tunnels spiraled downward, leading to chambers that seemed more advanced the deeper they went. Some walls had strange discolorations, traces of heat, as if exposed to high-energy sources. One tunnel ended in a sealed doorway, massive and immovable, carved from a single piece of stone. Behind it, ground-penetrating radar revealed a hollow void, a space so large it could hold a cathedral. What lies inside remains sealed. The team has not yet opened it. Already, whispers circulate. Could this be a lost city? A forgotten temple? Or perhaps a vault? Something deliberately buried to protect, or to hide, what lies within. The implications are staggering. If this structure is real, and it is, then human history is far older, far more advanced than we were ever taught. It suggests a missing chapter of humanity, one erased from memory, one erased from books, one erased perhaps deliberately. And yet, here it is, rising from the earth like a voice from the deep past, demanding to be heard. But here is the strangest part. The discovery was not immediately made public. For months, it remained classified, hidden under government supervision. Why? What was so dangerous about an archaeological find? Was it the symbols? The star map? The sealed chamber? Only after leaks forced their hand did officials finally acknowledge it. But even now, only fragments of information have been released. And so we are left with questions. Who built it? How did they build it? And why does it exist? The deeper scientists dig, the more unsettling the answers become. Because this is not just a monument. It is not just a temple. It may be something far more profound. A message from the past. A warning. Or perhaps a doorway. The deeper we go, the darker the secrets become. And what has already been uncovered is only the beginning. Because behind that sealed chamber, behind that immovable stone, lies something that has not seen the light of day in 6,000 years. Something waiting. Something that could change everything. The excavation site had already become the center of worldwide attention. Journalists swarmed the area. Researchers fought for access. But as more of the structure emerged from the earth, so too did the controversy. Because what the archaeologists were uncovering did not just suggest advanced engineering. It suggested a deliberate intelligence, a guiding hand that had worked with precision thousands of years before any known civilization should have had the capability. One of the most shocking discoveries came when teams began analyzing the acoustic properties of the chambers. Sound carried in strange ways inside the tunnels. A single clap of the hand could echo endlessly, resonating at specific frequencies. Scientists quickly realized this was no accident. The structure had been designed to channel sound, to amplify it, to create vibrations that pulsed through the stone itself. Some chambers even produced low-frequency hums that matched natural resonances of the human body. In other words, this place was built to affect people, not just physically, but psychologically. Was this a temple for rituals? A healing center? Or something even more advanced? A kind of ancient technology using sound and vibration? Researchers found another unsettling clue. Traces of a black, glass-like material fused into cracks of the stone. At first, it was dismissed as natural obsidian, but testing revealed it was something different. It was stone melted at extreme temperatures no primitive fire could reach. To melt granite requires heat of more than 1,000 degrees Celsius. Yet here it was, embedded within the walls. Some suggested ancient lightning strikes. Others whispered of forgotten technologies. But no one could deny the evidence. Parts of this structure had been exposed to forces far beyond what we believed humans of that era could generate. Then came the carvings. Buried deep within a central chamber, archaeologists uncovered panels filled with images that shook even the most skeptical researchers. Among depictions of animals, humans, and strange geometric patterns was something else. a series of carvings that looked remarkably like machines. One figure appeared to show a man standing before a device with circular discs, beams extending outward like rays. Another carving resembled what modern eyes would interpret as a map, lines connecting stars, planets, even a spiral that looked eerily like our own galaxy. But the most puzzling carving was a large humanoid figure, towering over the others, with elongated limbs and what appeared to be a helmet or headpiece. Was it a god? A mythological being? Or was it something else entirely? Theories multiplied. Some scholars argued this was evidence of an advanced but forgotten human civilization, one that rose and fell before recorded history, leaving only traces of its greatness. Others were not so sure. They pointed out similarities to ancient myths around the world. The Sumerian Anunnaki, the Egyptian gods who descended from the sky, the Mesoamerican feathered serpent who brought knowledge. Could it be that this structure was connected to those myths? That these were not just stories, but memories of something real? But the most disturbing find was still ahead. In a sealed chamber beneath layers of rock, archaeologists discovered what at first seemed like a ceremonial platform. Flat, polished stone, circular patterns etched with extreme precision. But when researchers mapped its layout, they realized it wasn't random decoration. It was a scaled model of the solar system. Not just the visible planets, but also smaller celestial bodies only discovered with modern telescopes. And most shocking of all, at the very edge of the pattern, was a mark, a symbol, representing something beyond Pluto. A planet, an object, a celestial body we have yet to confirm. How could they have known? The implications were staggering. Did this ancient culture have knowledge of the cosmos far beyond their time? Or had they been taught? If so, by whom? Not everyone welcomed the discovery. Within weeks, the excavation faced sudden restrictions. Military presence increased. Drones and cameras were banned. Even the lead archaeologists were no longer allowed unrestricted access. Leaked reports suggested that something had been found inside the sealed chamber, something too controversial to reveal. Officials claimed it was dangerous to disturb the site further. But that explanation only fueled suspicion. Whispers began to spread among the workers. Strange events at night. Lights flickering deep within the tunnels. Tools moving, as if shifted by unseen hands. Some reported low, pulsing sounds, tones so deep they vibrated in the chest, even when no machinery was operating. A few workers quit, refusing to return. They claimed the site was alive, that something inside was watching. Despite the restrictions, a few images leaked out. Grainy photographs of what appeared to be a massive circular doorway, smooth, metallic looking, unlike the surrounding stone. It seemed fused into the rock, as if it had been placed there deliberately, then covered over. Some experts insisted it was simply polished stone, but others saw something different, something that looked engineered, manufactured, as if a piece of technology had been embedded within the ancient structure. If this was true, then we were no longer dealing with simple archaeology. We were staring into the possibility that this site was more than just a temple or monument. It could have been a vault, a storage place, or even a machine. The more researchers uncovered, the more questions emerged. Why would a culture 6,000 years ago build something so massive, so precise, and then bury it? Was it to hide it from enemies? To protect something sacred? Or was it because they feared what it contained? Some suggested it might have been a place of refuge, a sanctuary built in the aftermath of a cataclysm, such as the great flood myths that appear in cultures worldwide. Others believed it was meant to preserve knowledge for the future, a time capsule left behind by a people who knew they were doomed. But the most chilling possibility was this: what if it was buried not to protect us, but to protect the world from it? Because if what lies sealed inside is not just stone, not just carvings, but something more, something technological, or worse, something alive, then the implications are almost too great to imagine. And yet, despite the warnings, despite the unease, the excavation continues. Piece by piece, the ancient structure reveals itself. And soon, inevitably, that sealed chamber will be opened. What happens next could change history forever. The world is waiting. The countdown has begun. For weeks, the sealed chamber remained untouched, looming like a silent guardian beneath the earth. But pressure was mounting. The world demanded answers. What lay behind that immovable slab of stone? Why were governments suddenly involved? Why were archaeologists silenced? At last, after endless debate, permission was granted. The chamber would be opened. The operation was shrouded in secrecy. Only a handful of specialists were allowed inside. Cameras were banned, and communication was heavily restricted. Yet, leaks still found their way out. And what those leaks described is almost beyond belief. The stone door was not simply a door. It was an engineering marvel, carved from a single slab, sealed so tightly against the frame that not even a blade could pass through. But with modern drilling equipment and weeks of work, the seal was finally broken. When the slab slid aside for the first time in 6,000 years, a rush of cold air spilled into the tunnels, air untouched by human breath since before the birth of writing. What the team found inside stunned them into silence. The chamber was enormous, easily the size of a cathedral. Its walls glistened, lined with polished stone that seemed to glow faintly in the dim light. Etched across every surface were more carvings, spirals, symbols, patterns resembling constellations. But the centerpiece was what lay in the middle of the room. A massive object, circular, smooth, metallic in appearance, resting on a raised platform. It was unlike anything seen before in archaeology. Not stone, not wood, not anything that could be crafted by hand 6,000 years ago. It was something else entirely. Some described it as a disc. Others called it a vessel. But whatever it was clearly not ceremonial. It bore the marks of design, of function. Along its edges were grooves and indentations, too precise to be natural. Its surface was cold, impossibly smooth, without the chisel marks or imperfections of ancient tools. To the touch, it felt like polished steel, yet no known alloy matched its composition. As if this wasn't shocking enough, the object was not inert. Instruments registered faint electromagnetic fields surrounding it. A low hum seemed to vibrate through the air, barely audible but unmistakable. Some of the team reported headaches, disorientation, even visions, after spending only minutes inside. It was as if the object was alive. This discovery split the scientific world in two. Was this proof of a forgotten, highly advanced human civilization? A culture that rose, mastered technologies, and fell into obscurity long before Sumer, Egypt, or Mesopotamia? Or was this something else, something not of human origin at all? Officials tried to suppress speculation, but the truth could not be contained. Documents leaked, showing that isotopic analysis had dated the metallic object to well over 6,000 years old. Yet its material contained trace elements unknown in any natural formation on Earth. More disturbingly, radar scans suggested the object was hollow, its interior shielded from view. What was inside? Whispers grew louder. Was it a relic? A machine? Or a container? And if it was a container, what did it hold? Meanwhile, more carvings were deciphered. Among the symbols, researchers found repeating patterns, depictions of waves, floods, fire raining from the sky, followed by the image of the massive disk, as if the object had been present during some great cataclysm. One interpretation emerged. This structure was built not as a temple, but as a vault, a protective chamber designed to contain this artifact. Not to honor it, not to worship it, but to seal it away. If that was true, then the builders of this site knew something we did not. They knew that this object was dangerous, or at least not meant to be touched. And yet, here we were, opening it. Reports from within the chamber grew stranger. Electronic devices malfunctioned. Batteries drained instantly. Compasses spun wildly. Some claimed the object responded to proximity, as though it sensed when people approached. Others whispered that the carvings on the wall began to glow faintly when touched, though this has never been confirmed. Then, one night, a breach occurred. Workers at the site reported a deep, resonant sound echoing through the ground, a vibration that lasted for nearly a minute. It was as if the object had awakened. The next morning, the chamber was sealed again, this time by military order. No further access was allowed. The world was told that excavation had been suspended indefinitely for safety reasons. But what truly happened in that chamber remains hidden. Some insiders claim that the object was moved in secret, transported to an undisclosed location for further study. Others insist it remains buried, sealed once again in the earth, locked away where it was meant to stay. And so the questions remain. Who built this massive structure 6,000 years ago? How did they possess knowledge of the stars, of sound, of advanced engineering beyond their era? Where did the artifact come from? Was it theirs, or was it left for them by something else? And most haunting of all, why did they bury it? Were they protecting it, or protecting us from it? Every answer leads only to deeper mysteries. If a civilization capable of building this existed, then human history is not the story we were told. It is older, stranger, and filled with missing chapters. Perhaps one day we will learn the truth. Perhaps one day the object will be studied openly, without secrecy. But for now, the ancient structure remains a warning, a reminder that the past is not as silent as we think, that something waits beneath the earth, older than nations, older than empires, older than memory itself. 6,000 years ago, someone left us a message, a monument, a vault, and inside it, something that defies explanation. The question is not whether we are ready to uncover the truth. The question is whether we were ever meant to.